name is Shokpe, and I'm the owner of Sensational Cakes. 9 years now in the business. I was originally operating in Lagos, Nigeria. I had a bakery, and I got married and had to relocate to the United Kingdom to be with my family. I started again from scratch here 2 years ago. 20 is it 2 years now? 2022 September was when I started again from scratch in the United Kingdom in September, and I'm just happy to say there's been lots of progress, and I'm very happy to be doing this again. Um, yeah, I have a website now. I'm still doing my Instagram, and of course, trying to put myself out there on TikTok. Yeah. So basically, it's just by doing research, by studying my environment, um, understanding what people around me want. The way we do business back in Nigeria is very different from how we do business here. We mix up all types of cakes, like whipped cream cakes and things like that. But I had to, change that getting here. Not everybody likes whipped cream or takes whipped cream. Their palate is different, and of course, I had to up my advertising game because there were bakers here before I came here. So I had to, put myself out there, just like what I did when I started my brand in Lagos. It's very humbling. So I'll tell you, because you're coming from that place where there's lots of attention on you, and then you're getting here when nobody knows you, and you need to tell everybody, I am a baker, I make nice cakes. This is me. If you taste my cake, you like, things like that. So it's very humbling. But that's really what really helped me was word of mouth, telling people about myself, any opportunity for me to give people cake samples. I do that. My church community is very supportive as well. They really supported me when I came here. And I also had to put myself out there by attending exhibitions, meeting with people, and also having a website. People do things here online. It's not by, you know how it is now. So I have to tell people outside, okay, uh, this is me, exhibitions, website. People will go to go and look for cakes in the area. That's how they know you. So yeah, I'm happy to be doing this again. I mean, I've been able to unlearn some things and relearn. Now I have, respect for people more. I respect people's time. You do things by the book here. You have to stand by it. Can't be all over the place. So, yeah, that's it really. And I think when I started my brand again, I had to do some sort of rebranding. I had to drop some Lagos habits, and there's this thing when we are doing business in Nigeria, there's this attitude we have, like you just treat people anyhow, pride and things like that. I had to learn to respect people more. And one thing that really helped me is to put everything in writing. So back in Lagos, someone can just call you, I need a cake for tomorrow. I say, "Mm-mm, we don't do that here. You send me messages, I respond. So I have evidence in case anything happens. Another thing I had to do was to give myself a bit of time when people want to order cake. So in Lagos, people just tell you, I need cake for tomorrow, I need cake for this evening. It doesn't happen like that. So you give me notice, and I'll confirm to you if I'm available to make that cake at the time that you need it. Another thing I had to do was to have to set terms and conditions in place. And that's one thing that's very relevant to this topic that we're discussing today. Here, there are rules. If you mess up, the government will come for you and things like that. So you need to set your terms and conditions straight. Another thing I had to learn was allergies and things like that. You need to confirm from your customers if what you're making from them suits their allergy and all of those things. So basically, I've had to do some sort of rebranding, and it's very visible on all my social media page. Like if you scroll down my page, you see there's a difference. And yeah. What else have I done? Mm, yeah, I've just had to learn some new skills to match what I have here. White people are not very keen on, flamboyant cake. They like it simple. So we are coming from somewhere where everybody wants everything on their cake. It's not like that here. That's it. Yeah, it has to be very, yeah, minimal. That's it. Basically, I would say it's everybody believes that what you're getting abroad is original. In my own opinion, I feel like what you have here, you can get back home. The only difference I've seen is, the type of floor. Here, they have different types of floor, like self-raising, normal. You have to find the one that suits you. Back home, you just have just one type of floor, which is just the regular floor. So basically, I mean, and there's some other ingredients here, but I won't say I've had to. What I see here, I can't see back home. I mean, if you search very well back home, you will get them. 10 years now in the business. I started. I always loved anything that had to do with the kitchen, and anything that had to do with baking cakes and things like that. So, in my final year in uni, I enjoyed baking a lot. I once attend my lectures. I would go home and make cakes for customers. So I would go home and make cakes and things like that. So I just felt, okay, why not? And everyone that tasted these cakes loved them, and they were willing to pay for them. So I decided to turn my passion for making cakes and cooking into a business. But now I don't cook for business. I just make cakes for business. So, and no regrets so far. No regrets. Even when I had to start afresh, no regrets at all. I would say it was the fact that people were willing to pay for what I was offering them. They tasted them, they loved it, and they will say, "Why not? Why don't I pay you for this service?" So I ended up collecting money for it, and that's how I turned it from a passion into a business. And there were lots of support. Everyone would say, "Oh, can you make this cake for me? I have a small event coming." Even though the cake was not all that, it wasn't the best cake you see out there, but they just appreciated the fact that it was coming from me. So I accept all types of payments. I'm not a physical. I don't have a physical shop, so the only time I accept maybe cards and POS and all those things is when I go for exhibitions. But currently, if somebody wants to buy from me, if they're buying from my website, they usually pay by card. Like the way you pay online with card, there's PayPal there as well. And sometimes when people request cakes from me, I can send them my bank details. They can make a bank transfer, or I can send them a payment link through PayPal or Stripe. I use Stripe on my website, so they could accept. They could pay through Stripe as well when I send them a payment link. It's a normal policy for me. When I moved to the UK, I realized that not everybody wants to pay in full. In Lagos, everybody would say, "Oh, you need to pay in full because you don't trust people." But here, it's a normal practice that people want to pay you a deposit beforehand. So I have a policy. It's in my terms and conditions. I accept 70% payment upfront, and then the balance of 30% is due 48 hours before collection. It's set there. It's there. There's no changing. It's sent to people just before they place their order. So if you're okay by it, you go ahead, and if not, they don't go ahead. One thing with me and trust is just, I would like to say, this not me bragging or anything. I always like to say that my personality, speaks for me. My social media, my website speaks for me. So anybody that is coming to buy from me, they already see everything. So there's already trust to believe that, okay, this person, like my address is on my website. I can't run away with your money. And, people just trust me that she would deliver. My face is everywhere on my brand. You are able to identify me anywhere. So anybody that is coming to buy from me would say, okay, I know this person. I can identify her. I trust her with my money. I'm going to pay a deposit and I'm willing to give it a go. That's it. I just feel like putting myself out there has been able to earn me that trust, and building a very strong social media presence. Is my policy about cancellation is, you can cancel if you want, if you give me a lot of notice, but cancellation has to be done at least a week before, and then I don't refund except it's in a critical condition. There's no refund, but you can change the date. Like, let's say you need the cake for next week, and you can't. Yeah, no, you don't need the cake again for next week. You can change it. Oh, I need the cake next month, but I won't refund your money. And I had a scenario. No, it's not this one. I had a scenario with But I had a scenario, something along this line last year. I'm not going to go into details, but what the person did, I had to refund the money because I was just trying to. I just had a baby then, and I was trying to avoid drama, so I just had to send the money back. But ideally, I do refund. There's usually you can change dates, but no refund policy. Um, I think again we'll go back to this. I usually send them the terms and conditions before they place their order, and I always confirm with them if they are comfortable with this before they place their orders. Another thing I usually do, and this is for like wedding cakes and people that are buying major cakes, what I usually do with these ones is I send them a contract to the bride and groom, and they sign the contract before they eventually pay me. And this is just in the contract is stated there. This is the way we do payments. This is my stance on refunds, deposits, and things like that. So once they sign the contract, I'm able to have that in place, and in case anything happens, I'm able to use that to protect myself. But in terms of normal customers and birthdays, it's in writing. I always make sure that everything is in writing. So my terms and conditions are there. In case anything happens, we can always visit, go back to what we chatted about. Again, my personality goes like precedes me. I mean, my Instagram, I don't have loads of followers on there, but my Instagram, it's all there. My kicks, you can see them, and I upload every day, so you can see that, okay, I'm active on here. So that sort of builds trust on one side. And secondly, I'm able to send my terms and conditions. Everything just boils down to my personality, my terms and conditions. So that sort of both of them sort of work together, to keep my customers in check. I mean, if that answers the question, I don't know if I'm able to answer that question. But yeah, basically, it's boils down to the terms and conditions. So my advice will always be to always have your terms and conditions set, so that in case anything happens, you are able to go back to that, read it. I always tell my customers to read. Some customers don't read, but I always let them understand that you need to read this and you need to be sure that you understand this. So sometimes when even people call me and say, oh, I need this. I always tell them that please put it in writing. I need to see it in writing, so that in case anything happens, we can always go back to, in case you change, you know, your mind, or you don't understand what I said or what you said. I think I miss making like very big and elegant cakes. Ever since I moved to the UK, I've made cakes quite alright, but in Nigeria, you know how things are now. You make all these cakes that will turn like this, move like this, Yeah, but people here don't really fancy things like that. They just want to go simple. So I think I really miss making all this. And I've not made the traditional cake since I came here. So that's one thing I really miss. So it's usually, all of very simple cakes and all those things. So yeah, I miss that. But I really wish I could, but yeah, I'm not like to you. I mean, I don't have any staff. I was coming from having like five people working for me to not having anybody working for me. So basically, it's not easy. I'm the I'm the baker, I'm the decorator, I'm the errand girl, I'm the cleaner, and everything in one. So it's all about time management. And I am not a full time baker here. I work a 9 to 5. So basically, I'm able to like juggle all of those things. And what's really helped me is staying organized. So I'm able to plan myself, and during the weekend, I plan myself, I strategize how is this week going to be. So that's the only way I'm able to send out cakes, by is by timing myself and staying organized. Without that, I don't think I'll be able to juggle everything together. So yeah, it's a challenge. It's not easy. I won't try to paint it sweet. It's not easy being the only person running the business, but that's it. Show has to go on, cakes have to be made, and this brand has to continue. So we do what we have to do. I'd say, first of all, my passion, the fact that I'm not giving up on myself. Honestly, there are days where you just come and you're like, what am I even doing? Followers are not, algorithm is not very nice. Look at our life and we have just two people watching. It's not very encouraging. But one thing that just keeps me going is that People are watching. If there's anything I've learned in the past year of my business is that people are actually watching. Like I just get some random DMs and I'm like, okay, you are here, you saw that. I mean, people can see you. There were a lot of things that happened in my brand last year, and I didn't believe how much people were watching until all of those things happened. So one thing that has kept me going is my love for baking. It's one thing that nobody can take away from me. And the fact that I'm not doing it to impress. I'm not doing my business to flaunt, I'm not seeking validation from anybody. I am doing it because I love it, I enjoy it, and I'm just going to keep going as long as God gives me the strength. So at the end of the day, one thing is my passion has kept me going, and the fact that I'm not seeking validation. So whether I post and I have only 2 likes, thank you. Whether I post and I get 1 million likes, fine, I'm grateful. So it's just the most important thing is that the brand keeps going, and people can see what you're doing. It will be very surprising how many people are watching. First of all, baking business is very lucrative. But it takes a lot of work to make that money. I mean, you're standing a lot and it takes a lot of commitment to be able to make the money that you want. It is lucrative, but you have to put in the effort. That's number one. And secondly, there's a lot of challenge. It's a very dynamic industry, and you need to keep your creative game very high in order to stay there. If you are not creative or you just call yourself the OG, and I've done this for 15 years and I just sit down and relax, you are not moving with the trend, and you'll be very surprised how people forget you like this. So one thing that's kept me going is my first of all my passion for baking. Then secondly, I've learned to always learn. I always take like trainings every year, even if it's one, and it might not be very necessary, but the reason why I'm taking that training is just to keep myself up there, and just to be able to move with the trend so that people don't forget you very quickly. What was trending last year is no longer trending this year. It's gone. Secondly, and also there's been lots of challenges. Of course, my business, every business. I mean, you are dealing with people, so I feel like my challenge has always been dealing with people. I've learned to understand people over the years. I've learned to have patience. I mean, not everybody has patience, but business will teach you to have patience, to be calm, to understand people a lot. And it's even on a different level when you have people working for you. You have to have patience, you have to understand people a lot. So I think all of those things joined together as what has really kept me going. But one thing that really keeps pushing me is, I don't know, really, is the love for this cake. I don't know. I just really enjoy it. So I always try to keep myself up there, creative. I keep learning and unlearning. I keep, throwing some habits away, picking up new ones. And also, I need to keep my communication, you need to learn to be able to sell your market because it's very competitive. Everybody is doing cake these days. But what really keeps you different is what you know, how well you can communicate, and how well you can give your customers value. That's the only reason why you have repeating, like customers coming back. So yeah, those are my own 2 cents. I mean, from my own side of things. YouTube. I had like vlogs I was doing sometime, so many cakes. I mean, but I didn't, everything is not on my YouTube, of course, but I've had like videos, I've had cakes where I've done, that fell down at the venue. I've had cakes where, spoilt. I mean, I've delivered cakes that, but those are like in the early years, of course, not like now. So those things sort of shaped my brand. I've done cakes. I've done 3-tier cakes for like 35,000 before, and that was like early when I didn't know what I was doing. So I mean, these are the things that when I was just starting the brand. But I'm just grateful to God for all of these lessons, because all of these experiences, because they sort of taught me lessons, and now I can't make the same mistake I made back in the day. So I think it's a no-brainer. Like, you would always make mistakes when starting a business, but it's what you learn from that experience that now sort of shapes you. And you know, I think it's mindset first of all, and I'm not going to try and sugarcoat things. It's not easy starting a brand afresh in an entirely different space. it was tough for me as well. But again, we don't show our struggles on social media. I won't come to Instagram and be crying and be saying, "Oh, you guys, I'm struggling." There are days when I cry. There are days when I wished I didn't close my bakery in Lagos. There were days where I wished I had a staff that could send errands and stuff. But this is me looking at the bigger picture. I'm like, in 5, 6, 7 years from now, I'm not going to be where I am right now. So it's about, looking at the bigger picture and always having it at the back of your mind that this is just the beginning. You are eventually going to grow as long as you put in the work. So it was my mindset that what I faced in 2022 stroke 2023 when this business was just growing, it's just a phase and it is going to pass. There are days I don't get orders. I mean, there are weeks I don't have any cakes, but you can't tell because, of course, you rebrand your old content and post it again. It's about having the mindset, about not being lazy. As long as you are not lazy, you have a good mindset, you love what you are doing, and it's not about the money. It's not everything that is about the money. It's about you building a brand. Of course, we are in this business to make money, but then again, we also love what we are doing. So after doing putting all of these things into practice, I believe it won't be very tough. And again, people that are just relocating that send me DMs, I try my best to help. I mean, I answer questions, even though I'm not obliged to. I do, and I understand if there's any baker on this life that is just relocating and you are confused about what to do, how to go. Honestly, take it a step at a time. It is not a day's job. It is going to eventually fall in place. Don't get ahead of yourself. Just take it a day at a time, to be honest. There are days when, like, I mean, not insulted, but there are days when customers have looked down on. Just 2 weeks ago, I had a customer, saying she wasn't going to buy a wedding cake from me because I didn't have a walk-in store. It was like a big slap to me because I was coming from having a full bakery to working from home. So, but then again, I didn't allow that to shake
to where
me. I dusted it off and just moved on. I'm like, I've made wedding cakes without people coming into my kitchen to inspect. So this is not going to change my mindset or anything. So yeah, people don't show their struggles on social media. So everyone should don't believe everything you see online. We're all having our share fare of, our bad days. But what do? We pray about it. That's about it. And we move on. That's life. I wish I had like terms and conditions back then. I feel like I was just operating anyhow. Bring your money, let me do cake and go. Those are the things that I had back then. Because then I was just like, I was exciting me or getting all those alerts and things. But right now, I understand what it is like to set a structure in place. And it's not even in my early years. I feel like even when I was back home, just before I relocated, I wish I had a better structure in place. So what I am doing right now with my brand is building a solid structure. Even if I'm going to employ somebody, it's not going to be just anyhow. Oh, you can bake. Let's bake. Mm-mm. We do everything by the books. That's the only way we can build a sustainable brand. So I wish back then I knew how to build a structure. I had terms and conditions in place. I wish I knew that back then because now if I what I'm doing now for my brand, if I was doing it back then, I mean I would have gotten bigger than this. So yeah, it's not a regret, but it's just something I wish I knew back then.
mm. Have you ever had a moment in your life as a baker feel like I'm tired, I should quit this baking?
Honestly, I feel like that, most days that's because I work alone. I make all these cakes alone. And aside from that, I'm like, cleaning, doing market runs, you're doing all those things. That is when I told my husband, I'm tired. Why am I even doing this? I still said it, I think last, last, last week or 2 weeks, I still said it that, what is this cake? I'm not doing it again. But when I do all of that, I still go back and pick my baking pads and I usually say I'm in toxic I'm in a toxic relationship with my business because I will cry about it now and I still pick my mixer the next minute and bake. So so yeah, there are days where I feel like that. But I'm never giving up on this business. That's one thing I know for sure. Usually very excited because it just proved to me that all the standing and hard work is worth it. So yeah, I'm usually like very excited and it's like rewarding for me. This is me. I'm not. This is me being very blunt. I think you know I have some baker, some very good baker friends, but I also think that there's sometimes the kind of things and vibe I get sometimes, and things I see. I mean, it could be better. That's my own opinion. I'm not a very noisy person. I might like to mind my business a lot, very quiet, but I see things and I hear things. But one thing that I just really know is that it could be better. But bakers in the United Kingdom, I know some, but I don't know about any association whatsoever. I don't belong to any association. But I know that, if I need help or some people need help, we can always talk to each other and help each other out. But back in Lagos, I know there was all these ICs and all of those things, which was very helpful because we used to have exhibitions from like dewdrops and the likes. But for here, I don't know of any and I don't belong to any. But in terms of relationships, energy, and all these things, you can do better. I still, I have about like 5, 10 minutes I can spare just in case there's any questions
Okay.
whatever. And I can see that there are
Okay.
more people on the live now. So just in case you have any questions, I'm happy
Okay.
to answer. Yeah, I mean, I've been working from home for the past 2, 3 years now, and I don't have a problem with it. I've learned space management, I've learned time management. So yeah, I would advise that if you don't have the capacity to go and have a storefront, please don't, because you are just going to be setting yourself in a trap that you won't be able to get out of. So make sure that you have a good standing, you have the financial capacity to be able to handle having a storefront before doing that. Be honest, we can never stop that. People would always try to price you. It's a normal thing. I still face this every day, even up until this morning. I still face people pricing me. But one thing that just gives me confidence is that I know the quality of what I'm giving my customers. So what I just try to do with customers is, okay, I have a budget of £50. What can you do for me? If they just come and say, oh, I want this cake, and they say it's too expensive for them, I ask them, what's your budget? And if they say I have a budget of so amount, what I just do is, okay, this is what I have for this amount. Do you like this? I give them different options to be able to choose from. If they say they don't like that, they still want that, then I don't know how I can help you, because you need to up your budget to reach, the price that I was calling. So there will always people would always try to haggle the price. That one is a normal thing. But what you now do as a baker or as somebody that's rendering a service is to have a good standing, to have confidence in what you are giving them, so that they won't be able to shake you and say, okay, at the end of the day, you're not in business to make a loss, isn't it? First of all, my cake speaks on its own. I feel like I always give customers more value than they paid for. That's one thing I've always done over the years. Like, you pay me for a cake, but I feel like in the process of doing it, I just end up putting in more than that's what some customers that really appreciate value always know, that okay, this is more than I paid for. That's one. Then two, for loyal customers, and I wasn't really doing this. In Lagos, then I used to give some people freebies, maybe attach cupcakes, attach small treats. But here, what I've done is at the end of the year, ever since I've done this for 2 years consistently, is to I have a database of all my customers that have patronized me through the year. And what I just do is to pick out the ones that have patronized me more than 3 times. And I just give them something at the end of the year. 2 years ago, it was like chocolates and, a nice card. But last year, what I did for them was I customized a flask, insulated flask for them with their individual names. And I gave it to them and they really appreciated it. So, yeah, it's always good to appreciate the customers every time, because, it's when you say thank you that paves way for more. I've left Lagos now for more than 2 years, so I don't really know what it is like in terms of how much things are. I have an idea because I have friends that have like told me, "Oh, things are this expensive, they've gone up." But until you're in this situation, you really cannot understand. I mean, but honestly, it's very sad to see that the economy has gotten that, very tough where bakers are like, really complaining about the prices of things. Things have gotten very expensive. Cake is now like gold, there's like cake up to like 100,000. It should be because she gets value for what they are doing. But then again, we shouldn't be spending our entire salary buying a cake. So my word of encouragement would be to those that are struggling, that are thinking of quitting. My word would be think about why you started. Think about why you decided to be a baker. Was it because of the money or was it because you love baking? If you love baking and you enjoy what you are doing, then please don't stop. We pray every time for Nigeria to get better. But then again, we all know how the economy is. What I would just say is try and shift to what the economy is saying. There's loads of resources available there. I mean, I know because like Abiba Cakes that, they're always dishing out, words and all of those videos just to push you, to encourage you. Push, I mean, shift with the economy. If your cakes have to be expensive to make money, then please do what you have to do to keep the business going. At the end of the day, what you want to do is to keep your business going and not give up. So that's my word. Sorry if this is coming from somebody here. I'm not in this situation, so my advice can be very limited and it might not make sense, but that's okay. Fine. You can ask, but the thing is, in terms of which baker I like to say, honestly, that I, I'm not very vast in knowledge of so many bakers out there, but I'll leave you to make that decision on who you want to bring on to your show next. But the question I have for you is at the end. But then again, in terms of Baker TV show, I think you guys are doing amazing. I've been on your live a few times, and I'm really sorry if I've not been joining every time, and that's because I'm usually very busy. But you guys are doing amazing. I mean, the fact that you are going on to getting bakers to come on your show is really amazing. And I just want to ask if did you get any suggestions to bring me on your show, or did you? That's good. Well done. You guys are doing amazing.